Avinash and Tripti, and they're about to have their biggie Laila Majnu in theatres.
And baby Laila Majnu.
Do you remember the how you reacted when you first got to know that you were going to be playing Laila? What was the emotion that was going through you?
I went blank. I remember it was 23rd of Feb. मैं बाद में बताऊंगी क्यों मैंने ये बताया. And Mukesh sir, he called me to his office and he said, Tripti, come and meet me. I said, okay. I went there. He's like, welcome to Bollywood. He didn't say hi, hello, anything. Just like, welcome to Bollywood. And I was like, what? He's like, welcome to Bollywood. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, you've got the part. And I went blank and I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. It's my birthday today. So that was my birthday gift. I got the news on my birthday and I got super excited. For days I didn't tell my parents or my friends because I was like, nazar na lag jaye. So that was my thing.
Well, I have to say hi. I mean, we didn't say a formal hi.
Hi.
From me, Hrishi K, and everybody at Radio 1, many congratulations, bro, on bagging this part, Majnu. And I have to ask the same question. Where were you, at what point in your life were you when you got to know that you were finalized for this part?
This was a long journey for me. I met Sajid back in 2015, and the whole of 2016, all I did was test it for the film. I did about 20-21 tests, if not more. And Sajid had called me home. He happened to say, sorry, this is not happening, and gave me his phone, which had a mail saying Avinash is selected for Majnu. And I couldn't make sense of it because I was extremely nervous. I had waited for 8 months, not doing anything, waiting for this film. Once I got that news, we celebrated, but in the next 5 days, the film was shelved. So all the joy went away. And then I had to let go of it, wanted to move on, not become Majnu. And in 2017, the project was revived. And then Madame came into the picture, and with her fortunes, our fortunes changed. And we started shooting in May, and here I am in front of you, waiting for the release of the film.
Tripti, I also like the fact that, Laila is not being played like any of the Lailas in the past. It's not straight-jacketed. I mean, here's a ballsy girl who's a bit flirtatious and things like that. You must have really enjoyed that because, initially when you think of Laila Majnu, you think it's going to be a traditional love story.
Yeah, so before reading the script, I also had a certain image of Laila in my mind. I thought Laila would be this, very controlled, very ladylike. But she's very different. She's a flirt. She is the dream girl of all the Kashmiri boys, and she loves that fact. She's so clever that she uses her charm to, get her work done from people. So I love that about her. Also, I'm very different from her as a person. So it was a little difficult for me to play the first half of the film, but with the help of Sajid sir and of course Avinash,
Really?
I'll give that to you.
Did you guys hear that?
These guys helped me a lot, to become Laila, and that was really beautiful.
Is it true that you actually spent time in the wild, trying to get that, wasted kind of look and, lovelorn look in the wild in Kashmir?
I think it has kind of got overstretched, but yes, I did try and isolate myself. I'm not skilled enough to know what it is to really experience being in the woods without really experiencing it. So I had to try and isolate myself from everyone, which is what we did. This guy, because he wouldn't get much to eat, would look weak, so I had to drastically lose some weight. And the hair and beard is something that grows naturally, so we just make sure we don't maintain it and don't groom it. But yeah, the whole, I think we shot that sequence for about 9 to 14 days. Is one of the most memorable experiences for me in the film. Both, not only mentally, emotionally, physically, but also spiritual to some extent. I don't know if I can really explain that, but it has been a spiritual experience in itself.
Tripti, I know you guys both have done enough acting work in the past, but a lot of people want to know, there's a lot of curiosity about the two of you. So just a bit about your background. Are you a Bombay girl? Are you from elsewhere? What is your background before Laila Majnu?
I was born and raised in Delhi. Then I was working there with the YouTube channel. I worked with them for about 2 years to get some camera experience and all of that. Then I started working with a modeling agency, and that's how I in Bombay. They only got me here to Bombay, and I was working with them for a good 2 years. And they used to send me for a lot of auditions. I used to go for TVCP auditions and then web shows, everything. And that's how I got Laila Majnu.
Lovely. What about you? Your background?
I was born in Bihar. I was brought up here. I think I was 7 when I came to Mumbai. I was doing my studies. I was decent in studies. Took up engineering, and at one point, the lightning struck. I don't know why I keep saying this. कि कौन पागल किस पागल ने तुझे कहा था actor बन जाओ? I think I shall keep saying this for the next 30 years. But yeah, so I chose to be an actor. I wanted to train myself, did my training, went to Delhi, trained my underbarrage on, went to New York Film Academy, came back, and I thought the world is waiting for me. But nothing of that happened. Kept doing short films, kept doing commercials. Happened to do a show which was a fantastic experience in itself with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, which was directed by Mara. And kept testing for films. Laila Majnu came my way while I was on the journey to look for opportunities. And yeah.
So here you're surrounded by these heavyweights. There's Imtiaz Ali, there's Ekta Kapoor, there's Irshad Kamil. Sometimes is it like an out-of-body experience, especially at trailer launches and big events, saying, "Wow, these are people I grew up watching."
Yeah. In fact, I think I'm really glad and I'm really thankful to God that I got a chance to work with such great people. People like Imtiaz Ali, who's given this industry some really amazing films. Ekta Kapoor, who I believe is a Wonder Woman for the kind of work she does, and Sajid Ali, who's soon gonna impress the audiences with his, fresh voice. So I'm really glad and I'm really thankful to God that I got this opportunity out of those 1,000 lakhs of people. And I was really nervous before the trailer launch. I don't know if you were there, you weren't obviously, but I was super nervous that day. I kept going on and on and on, and Imtiaz sir was like, "Wait, stop talking. Why are you talking so much?" Because I was so nervous that the nervous energy was coming out, and all of them were like, उनको लगा कि शायद लड़की बहुत पढ़कर आई है. Sajid sir was like, "रट कर आई थी क्या तुम अपना डायलॉग?" I'm like, "No sir, I was just nervous." And yeah, it's surreal. I still can't believe it.
Bro, I know that principally it's a story about Laila Majnu, but any film is incomplete with the ensemble cast of actors. So just talk about some of the other actors who are part of this wonderful journey.
So there's a very interesting character called Iqbal in the film, which is being played by Sumit Kaul. He's a very interesting actor, and I'm sure when you see the film, you'll be taken back by him. The performance, I think, one of our favorite performances in the film is by Sumit Kaul. There are a couple of Kashmiri actors who have played a major part in the film. There's this guy called Abrar Qazi who's playing the character of Zaid, and he's fantastic. He's so good looking, man. I'm telling all the girls, मुझे तो देख ही लेना, but there's this guy Abrar Qazi who is fantastic. He's a great personality, very sweet boy. Sahiba Bali, again an actor. She's from Bombay, actually, from Delhi.
She's from Delhi.
And she's playing Ambreen, which is fantastic. Then we have two senior actors. Benjamin Gilani is playing my father, and Parneet Sethi is playing her father. These are very important characters because the conflict is about families, and so these are the actors who have done their job in the film, and they are terrific at what they have done, and really enjoy it when you see them.
Tripti, was this your first trip to Kashmir because of filming Laila Majnu, or have you gone there as a child? And your takeaways from Kashmir? I don't say this enough. You get off the plane and everybody looks like they're out of a Hollywood film. Everybody's just so good looking and beautiful.
Yeah, this was my first trip to Kashmir. In fact, I always wanted to go to Kashmir, and I had planned a trip with my friends, but then Laila Majnu happened. And Kashmir is a very beautiful place. I keep saying this, that it's like a painting. And there is something about that place. You step into that land and you feel different, you feel fresh and alive. And the people over there are very sweet, very humble. They treat you as if you're a part of the family, and they feed you a lot. बहुत खाना खाया हम लोगों ने कश्मीर में. बहुत मज़ा आया कश्मीर में शूट करके. In fact, a lot of our co-actors are Kashmiris, and they're so talented कि उनको देख के we used to be so jealous कि यार how are they acting better than us? So yeah, overall experience was very good.
When you're playing a complex character like Majnu, and the kind of pain that he goes through and the pleasure that he goes through, you obviously change as a person. And sometimes you reflect upon, oh my God, what were these times when these people grew up? I know this is a modern retelling of the story, But have you ever thought back to say, oh my God, the original Laila Majnu, what were they going through? What are the changes in you as a person?
So, I definitely never looked back and thought of how they were in those times, because I think the story is still relevant and it's very, very integral part of our lives. When you watch the film, you will understand what I'm saying. What it has given me is, like here I'm sitting with you. When you ask me this question, the first thought that comes to me in my mind is, "Jawab dunga to what will he think of me? What's the judgment that you'll have of me? I'm on this camera and am I looking good enough? How's my hair right now?" And all the social trappings that we are surrounded with. Getting liberated from all of that and experiencing a power that is beyond all these validations that we look for is what I've experienced playing Majnu. Maybe for a very small phase of time, but it's something that I have taken up with me, and I hope it stays with me. And if people who go and watch the film can experience a little bit of that, that will be some achievement. So for me, Majnu stands for liberation from all validations and vanities and social trappings that we have, and it's a very powerful experience. The film will provide you that for sure.
What a beautiful way of putting it. How much have you changed as post playing Laila? I mean, these are very intense feelings that you feel for another person, whether it's a friend or a lover. So it must have taken a fair deal out of you.
Yeah, I keep telling Avinash that I have grown as a person with this film. See, when you're working on a film like Laila Majnu, and any film for that matter, you're always surrounded by a lot of people. So we were there with about 82. We were a group of about 80 to 100 people, and everybody is different from each other. So there are certain things that you like about them, so you try and inculcate them in yourself. There are certain things you don't like about them, so you try and adapt to them. And all of this, I think, helps you grow as a person. It has changed me as a person. I don't think the way I used to think back then. I've started taking my work seriously. It has introduced me to love this film. So yeah.
Nice. Is there any advice from Imtiaz that you got? I mean, you have to, as an actor, soak it in, considering he is such an experienced director. Did you go and ask for the advice? Did both of you get some?
One thing I remember, he just said something very casually, and which stayed with me was, really mean what you say. And as an actor, when you're acting, always make sure that you mean what you're saying. कहने में बहुत छोटी बात लगती है, but when you're doing it, that is where all the conviction comes in from, and that has stayed with me. So and there's so much more actually, which are the technicalities of it, but this is something that will probably stay with me for longer and will help me out deal with things as an actor.
What about you? Stuff you picked up from Imtiaz, from Mukesh Chabra, anything that you've learned from these wizards?
Imtiaz sir said the same thing to me. He said that whatever you're saying, say it with full conviction, otherwise don't say it. There's no point, because our audience is very smart, and if you fake it, they'll catch it like this. So make sure you feel it while saying it, otherwise there's no point acting. You don't act, you just be yourself in front of the camera. That's what I've learned from Imtiaz sir.
So bro, what's on your phone? Is there a bit of Joy Barua, a bit of Niladri Kumar? Let's hear your playlist.
I'm so glad you brought this up. In fact, today itself we launched a song called Surfery, which is my mom's favorite song. So the moment it goes live, it's been playing on the jukebox, but she wanted to see the video. The moment it went live, she is like, I want to see it because I've been waiting for this song. That is the first song I played today. My favorite from the film has been, I don't know if have you heard all the songs from the film?
I've heard Laila, I've heard Hafiz, I've heard Sarphiri, the song which is just out. All of them are great. I mean, the elements of rock music, of contemporary music, pop music, amazing.
Yeah, so Joy and Niladri, again, there's such different kind of music, and it all comes together in the film, which also kind of tells you the story of Laila Majnu. The kind of elements that they have brought into the film, which is amazing. There's a song by Joy, which is
the radio version.
The radio version of the Laila song, which I find is so free and so laid back. It's a song for a guy like me. You can just sit down and sing that song. And Aista being the favorite for all of us in the team, most of us on the team. I think Hafiz is a song that he will come back with from the theatre.
So it's only your movie soundtrack that's on your phone?
Right now,
what
yes.
else are you listening to?
I was listening to Dhadak. I spent last 2 months, I think Dhadak, the title track just did wonders for me. I was also listening to Ed Sheeran. I don't know, I keep repeating Ed Sheeran. It just keeps coming on my playlist. These are the few songs that I can think of right now.
What about you? What's on your playlist? I mean, is it like what he said about Joy's music, hogging his playlist?
Yeah.
What's on your phone?
From past 1 year, I've only been listening to songs from our film, and that's about it. And Sad Free is my favorite song.
Okay. Before we wrap, we're bang in the middle of the festive season. We're at Bakri, then after this, there's Raksha Bandhan, then Dussehra, then Diwali. Let me ask the Delhi girl. Did you ever see a Ravan Dahan during Dussehra, go to the Ram Leela grounds? You have any memories of that?
I do. In fact, my dad organizes all of this in my society. He's a member of RWA from our society. And I used to act in Ramlila. I used to go there as Sita ki Sakhi.
Sita ki Sakhi.
And Raman ke darbar mein dancer. So I used to be that dancer. And I've also played Durmukhi. I don't know if you know who Durmukhi is. Yeah. So I've played that character as well.
I'm very impressed by your mythological skills. And bro, since you grew up in Bombay since age 7, Dandiya's?
Dayendi, bro. Dayendi. I was a huge fat kid, and they would always make me stand on the baseline, and I would have swollen shoulders the next day for 3-4 days. So I've done that. Dandiya, of course, I have a lot of Gujarati friends. In fact, the school that I studied in, 90% of them were Gujaratis, and I've been playing Dandiya. I think Oh Meri Laila is gonna be one of the most played Dandiya songs. So that is what my feeling is.
It's got that Garba.
Yeah, it has. It's so that I'm really looking forward to that. To go to Garba night and dance on my songs and Oh Meri Laila. That'll be fun. That's what I'm looking forward to.
And actually, the choreography in a lot of points, it's almost as though Majnu is being told by, I don't know who your dancer was, your master was, to just freak out. Because your arms are flailing in all directions.
What do you expect a Majnu to dance like? Mad in love, he should
he
be
was just being himself.
Celebration of love, and that is how it was.
What do you most like to get as a gift in the festive season? As a kid, did you get Naye Jode Kapde during Diwali? Do you remember your favorite festival gift, or what do you like to give to people?
I don't like gifting people. I like to
receive.
Yeah.
What do you like to receive?
Clothes. A lot of them. Just clothes, but no sweets. I can't have sweets.
You're off sweets?
Yeah.
I
don't like sweets.
You don't like? How lucky is that?
I don't understand people who don't like sweets. Man. Like I really don't understand people who don't like sweets. I've been a gorger for all my life. Yeah, me and my dad, every time there'll be sweets at home, both of us will wake up in the night, open the fridge and eat the stuff. So we are one of those. And as far as gifts are concerned, I think it's an idea that has been sold to us. ये क्या होता है कि इस दिन को गिफ्ट दो, ये करो, वो करो. It's something that I want to get done with. You want to gift people when you really feel like, rather than on occasions. And I hope that someday, when we're done with the commercialization of it, we'll come to a point where we really do things because we want to.
Last question. First day, first show. Where are you going to watch Laila Majnu? Are you going to go into like the Gaieties and the Galaxies?
Yeah, I was
world?
about to say that.
Yeah?
Gaiety. I'm going to go there to catch the reaction of the audience.
Lovely.
That's
You?
it.
Looks like I'll be really sleeping a very nice sleep because with the promotions done, I hope I wake up with the great news that the film is doing amazing. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Lovely. Listen, you guys are adorable. Thank you for talking.
Thank you so much. It was
Thank
lovely
you so
talking
much.
to you.
Thank you.